What is happening, fellow pioneers of human transportation? I'm Yogi Steve. This is ESA, the Electric Scooter Academy. Videos about high-powered scooters. Today I'm giving you my 7,000-mile DUALTRON Ultra comprehensive review. We're going to hit on all the high points one at a time, but first I'm going to take the Ultra to the top of Beechwood Canyon. A little bit of road footage. Let's address the brakes first. I taught myself brakes by watching videos, so it was kind of a long learning curve. I was replacing brakes as often as every 250, 300 miles in the early stages because I wasn't really aware of how to use my electric brakes properly. Now I have the electric brakes set to number 4 and it makes a big difference and I'm comfortable with them. But in the early stages, it just felt like the electric brakes, I would trigger them at even level 3 out of 5 and it would throw me forward. So I was on mostly like mechanical brakes for many thousands of miles. I went through a lot of brake pads. I finally learned to adjust to the electrical brakes and the motors, and now I can make a pair of brake pads last, 1,000 miles at least. But in the first 7,000 miles of scooter ownership, I've probably gone through at least 10 pairs of brake pads. In 7,000 miles, I'm on my third set of tires. The Ultra comes with off-road tires, those knobby tires. I did 3,000 miles on those before I switched to off-road tires, burnt through one pair of off-road tires, and now I'm on a very nice, very heavy-duty 11-inch pair of road tires. So I had to replace the tires 3 times in 7,000 miles. But the tires on these last a lot longer than you would imagine. You have to damage them to have trouble with them. You're going to always lose your front tire first because it'll tend to skid when you're using dual motors, which you're always going to do. So 3 sets of tires, 7,000 miles. At about 3,500 broke, and it broke at almost exactly 3,500 miles on the Ultra as well as the D2 Limited. To be honest, when I purchased the scooters, the guys who sold it to me told me that it was a crappy kickstand and they were gonna get me an upgrade or, sell me an upgrade, I guess. They're not doing that to try to rip you off or anything. I think they were just being honest. I've seen the beefier kickstands, and those seem like they will last a lot longer, those kind of square ones. The only reason why I haven't replaced mine is it's very easy to kind of just lean the scooter anywhere or put it down anywhere. I'm a little rough on it, but I do plan on replacing the kickstands and don't expect them to last if you're really gonna ride them, past 3,000 or 4,000 miles. The on and off stickers fell off the throttle controller at about 3,000 miles. It's really no big deal. I do feel like, though, that as this scooter gets above 7,000 miles, I will want to upgrade my throttle controller to the i3. I actually already own one. I just haven't done the job yet. But the stickers are falling off of the throttle controller, but it really is not affecting performance. It's fine.
It's just a song to go ballistic on. You just hold a pistol on the guy with the missile.
I think this next point is important, even if you don't have a problem with your stem, with your hinge. The DUALTRON Ultra stems, they're only rated to last a certain amount of time. If you look into the owner's manual on the Ultra, it tells you that it recommends that you rebuild the entire hinge at 7,000 kilometers. That's 4,200 miles. So almost exactly at 4,000 miles, my stem failed on this scooter. It failed very slowly, nothing catastrophic. It just started twisting out of its base, basically, and I could feel it. The handlebars were over-rotating, and I ended up just rebuilding it and fixing it myself. It doesn't cost that much money. It's only a few $100 to fix, but it's surprisingly like a highly technical job to do. I didn't really like the way that I rebuilt it. I'm looking forward to having somebody better than me help sort of rebuild it. But at about 4,000 miles, the hinge, the stem, failed on the Ultra. The question I'm most commonly getting is, what scooter should I buy? What brand, what company should I buy from? And I haven't really changed my mind or changed my opinion on this question for at least a year since I've been riding DUALTRONs. The reason why you should buy a DUALTRON is because the company has simply been around the longest. They have sold the most units. If there are any problems with any of their existing brand scooters, customers are already aware of that. While a DUALTRON does have certain generic parts, basically all electric scooters do, DUALTRONs have the least amount of inexpensive generic parts. Most other scooters are built primarily of generic parts, whereas certain things are exclusive to DUALTRON. Their frame is definitely exclusive to them. I believe their frame is their biggest selling point. Basically the durability of it. It lasts a long time, and the stems last a long time. Everything is easily replaceable. So when you buy from Mini Motors, you have the largest network of dealers to access if you're looking for parts. You have an unbelievable amount of information out there. You can just call these guys and they're going to help you with your scooter. So just go with the oldest brand that's been doing dual motor scooters the longest, that has sold the most with the least amount of problems. What you need to be aware of as a consumer is that every electric scooter is going to have some sort of a problem at some stage in its life. It's not like you buy a car and assume nothing's ever going to go wrong with it. When you buy a scooter, you're either going to have a problem in the early stages or the later stages. In the lower price points of electric scooters, you'll tend to have your problems in the early stages. You won't even reach the later stages, or you can define the later stages differently. In the higher end scooters, so we're talking dual motor scooters, $2,000 and above, you'll generally have less problems in the early use stages, and you'll start seeing your problems in the longer range use, because no matter how great the scooter is, once you have 4, 5, 6, 7,000 miles on it, you're going to have a problem with it. You're going to have access to somebody to help you fix it, or know how to fix it yourself.